Everything Japanese, I feel like there's like a tiered system, and like in order for you to become the master, you have to like kill your master or something like that.
Oh, nothing like that.
Could you try?
You probably could.
Okay. Welcome back to Our Senate Culture. I'm Matt.
Jason.
And we have a very special first-time guest as Jason is getting ready to flip this fucking table over. Balancing precariously over here.
My balance is pristine.
Yeah, we are actually doing our very first on-location broadcast, and we are coming from Void-E63 or Void Brewery. They make sake. And this is the first and only sake brewery in the entire state of Kentucky. And we have our Toji. Yeah. Justin LeVaughn with us. What's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Welcome
How are
on the
doing?
show.
Welcome.
We're happy to have you on.
Thanks
You
for
all
having
have the Void is actually not new. You guys have been around for how many years now?
So it'll be about 2.5 years. We established in 2020, we opened in 2021.
Okay.
That's when I brewed my first batch,
Okay.
and then that was in like early that year, and then we opened our tap room in June
Which
of that year.
is like 2 blocks to my right.
Yes, down the street.
Yeah, and you all had a small little spot, very quaint. We're on this street here, which is a really nice up and coming street. There's a lot of attractions here. A lot of people come here. We got Mirror Twin Brewing, which we've talked about numerous times on our show.
We've had Derek come,
and you are just a little bit out of the way. There's like a bend and like a corner, and it's just like enough out of the way, out of sight to where
you can see Mirror Twin from here though.
But from where we are now, so
Yeah.
you moved like 2 blocks in this direction, and we can see it from over there. You got a parking lot that is going to be a parking lot anymore.
Yeah,
They're going to be
it'll be
putting a pavilion, and this place is 3 times bigger than what you had. We've been drinking sake and beer already. But this place is beautiful, man.
It is very nice.
And you all
Very
did it
nice.
really quick, this move. Like,
Yes.
I'm actually super impressed. And I'm
Well,
waiting for, like, the ceiling to cave in where you,
It's
like,
kind of-
half-assed it.
It's kind of like like behind the scenes of Oz. Like
Yeah.
we made it look quick,
Right,
but
yeah.
It is about 2 months too late.
There's like
too late.
There's
but
12
2
guys
months
in the back
delayed.
like holding the walls up like this. It's all just it's fake. This place is gonna crumble. So
Yeah.
no,
that's-
seriously,
that's,
dude.
That's the fellowship of the Void. We enlist.
That's
them.
their membership. That's their requirement.
that's
You gotta
their-
hold up the walls.
And they do have a membership. What's your all's website for anybody curious? Or are you just on Facebook? Is that
Well,
what it
no,
is?
it's thevoidsake.com.
Okay.
Is
On
the
Instagram?
main kind of like portal. Yeah, we are on Instagram. The Void
Follow
Sake
you there. We follow
Instagram.
you there.
Yeah.
Facebook, Insta, our web
They just
domain
avoid
or
sake,
whatever.
yep.
The Void Sake.
And I enjoy sake. I enjoy it a lot. I buy your stuff and I hate to say it, I don't go to the brewery to buy it. It's usually a convenience thing when I'm like in
Yeah.
a store or whatever. But now that you all are closer, I'm hoping that my family, who I always go out with, and I'm at the whims of where my kids want to go.
Yeah.
Now it's closer and it's a little bit easier, because sometimes they like to go to the Mirror Twin over there because kids run around like fucking sheep over there.
They have that like kid cage over
Yeah,
there.
They do.
It's like the kid zoo, and like,
Yeah.
and my kids love it.
We tried to put Matt in there a few times when we go, but
And I broke
he breaks out.
I was
those
picking kids up and throwing them over the fence.
If you look at the bars, those kids have like just been like, just like.
The last time they
Fucking
locked
fit
me
those
in
kids.
there, I took 8 kids and I tied them into a rope, and I made a rope of kids, and I threw it over the top, and I scaled it over.
It's
and
like
then
Rapunzel's hair, just for kids.
but
right?
it's just like kids, yeah. And then I pulled them over because I had to rescue my buddies. So, but I enjoy sake. I enjoy it a lot. It's one of those things you kind of have to be in the mood for, and I want to actually drink more of it and learn more about it. We do a lot of a lot of rare things, but I like to explore things on the show, and like find new things and look at their history and heritage. Side note, I was actually going to bring some shochu.
Yeah,
But there's I started looking up like the history, and there's no history.
What
People
is
just were
that?
just getting drunk off it for
What is
like
that?
millennia. That's what I saw. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean it's different too because that's a distilled beverage,
Right.
Whereas sake's not,
right. But sake
but it's
uses
delicious.
yeah. In the process, they use the koji, which is like a fungus, and they put it on the rice, and that's what creates like the enzyme or to ferment.
Yeah, it's not malted rice, but it's not. I guess a good analog is malted like grains,
okay.
because you're using the the germ or the embryo to make the enzymes to break down the starches.
Right,
But
From the pictures I've seen online, it looks more full. Like if you look at, it's more like a wider white.
Yeah,
White,
so they
whiter, wider.
more opaque,
Wider.
pearly white. No, so they'll with a lot of more modern sake, they'll polish the grain.
Right. What does that mean?
So it's basically like if you look at the like a lot of times they'll use milling and polishing kind of like interchangeably.
Yeah.
But basically instead of like a barley like crusher, like a mill to like break open the seed coat or that fully intact grain,
Right.
they will mill or polish away the outer bits and just get the little starchy center.
It sounds like steel cut oats, kind of how they do those. Or a little
Yes,
thicker.
or like pearled barley.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's if you look at it, it's not like crusher like wheels like horizontally. It's just a big polishing wheel like mounted vertically, and it spins at high speeds, and then they just recirculate it through.
So they take each individual grain of rice and they just press it up against the polishing wheel
It
until it's like
just-
completely polished.
It just goes and it just goes fuck and just falls through it.
In 30 years, we'll have one bag of rice.
yeah, and it's going to be a Ziploc bag.
The small one, sandwich bags, not the gallons.
No, so yeah, it drops down, and then as it tumbles, it'll like hit the wheel and like nix it, and then they'll just recirculate it through.
Okay.
So the grain's intact, but that embryo is like just shaved away. So they're just shaving away the rice.
Okay.
And because of that, we can't malt it because there's no embryo to do that. So
Right,
that's
okay.
where that koji comes in, that
Okay.
other organism.
And this
So-
is go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's a little nerdy, but looking up like the fermentation process in beer, you take the barley and you more or less cook it to a degree in order to extract those enzymes, and then from there you take the wort, which is the solution, and then you put the yeast in, and then the fermentation takes place. With sake, you actually do the yeast and the koji at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's all just like.
Yep.
Like-
It's just all like there's I guess the coined like term that they use is called like multiple parallel fermentation.
Right, parallel
it's basically
fermentation, I saw that,
It's
yeah.
basically just like a like simultaneous fermentation. So like
Okay.
the step of making sugars from starch and then sugar to alcohol are all happening
Right.
at the same time.
So I don't want to downplay what you do, but that sounds pretty fucking easy.
Not really.
Is there like, do you have to like? Is there
No
certain,
offense, but your job's easy.
And that's
I mean,
great.
yeah.
That's awesome. Like,
Don't back it up now, man. Shit, don't back it up.
Yes, so it's you're basically like instead of two separate steps, they're
Right.
all happening at the same time. You still have to pre-treat, like you have to steam the rice.
Okay.
And like open up those like starches before you throw it in there, but it's all happening in one tank
Right.
and not like you mash it with hot water,
Okay.
and then you pull it off, and then you put it in this boil kettle, and then add your
Right.
stuff, and then so
because you are also a brewer
Mm-hmm.
and you work over at Ethereal, and so you are well versed in all different kinds of fermentations. So
Mm-hmm.
you know the differences and stuff.
So I don't know much about brewing. I'll just go ahead and admit that. But what I've looked online, isn't like the yeast very like sacred? I guess in sake making, like it's hard. Like where do you get your yeast from? Where does it start?
Like I don't know.
It's almost secretive online when I read about it a little bit. Seriously,
a lot of it is just because of the language barrier.
true. There was not many good like. A lot of it was in Japanese, which I had no idea what was going on.
Google Translate for the win.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shockingly, a guy from Eastern Kentucky did not take Japanese. He cannot speak it. But.
I mean, that's when we first started this, and it's definitely changed and gotten a lot. Like the information has opened up a lot more since we did it.
Right.
I think we started just messing around with it in like 2018,
Okay.
2017. So it's relatively recently.
I remember
And
trying
a lot
some
of
of your stuff.
Yeah.
I think at Ethereal you'd bring it around, or maybe Brandon did something you all had, maybe like a little bottle of something before you'd open.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody brought a bottle from like what it was one of my homebrew bottles.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is like 3 years old. I'm like, God damn it. And
That's a vintage shit, man.
yeah, you could tell it was a little rough, but
Yeah.
it's kind of neat, like where you came from, where you're
Sure.
at now. But,
Yeah.
But so to the easy part it's like you can just throw shit in and make some alcohol,
Right.
but like there's a lot of like balancing that goes into it.
Okay.
Because you're managing that sugar or starch to sugar conversion at the
Right.
same time of sugar to alcohol conversion, and so you're almost like a teeter-totter. So
Yeah.
you don't want one end to like overtake it, because then it's gonna fuck up the other part.
Exactly.
So you want everything in balance.
Yeah,
And
I give
so
you a hard time. Obviously, there's you got to have a deft hand.
I
and-
make it. I
Don't
make
back
it
it
look
up now,
easy.
Matt. Don't back it up.
You make it look easy. Yeah, it's because you're the not the Koji, the
Toji.
Toji.
Yeah.
Well, before we start getting into, we've actually been drinking some of your sake. You make some really good stuff. You told me that you did some traveling in Japan recently to actually become the Toji. Is that how you pronounce it? Toji?
Yeah.
Toji.
Toji.
Yeah.
Toji.
And that's more or
Toji.
less the head brewer, head sake brewer. Okay.
Yeah.
What
I'm not a master by any means, but
is there a process
there,
like?
getting there.
Yeah. Can you be? Is there like everything Japanese? I feel like there's like a tiered system, and like you could become a sensei, and
Yeah, to
like you
start
have all
at
these
3 years
underlings.
old and then
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Like, is there like a whole tier system to where like, in order for you to become the master, you have to like kill your master or something like that?
Oh, nothing like that.
Could you try?
You probably could.
Okay.
This is not Kill Bill.
An inheritance.
Yeah.
It's you, and then Joe, and then Brandon. Correct here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they help out whenever they can.
Sure.
But for the most part, it's just me
That's
back
awesome, man. So you've learned quite a bit over there.
I'm thirsty.
You've become the sensei of Kentucky, of the state of
Yeah.
Kentucky, right?
there. Sure.
I want to test your worth
okay.
here.
We're testing.
I want to test your metal. And
Thank you, sir.
and right now Justin's pouring us some of his
I'm
house
For
stuff,
me,
which I
for me.
appreciate. Yeah.
But while I'm pouring it, so the trip to Japan, it was there's a national like
Thanks, man.
trade organization that was started by sake brewers, kind of for sake brewers, and it's the Sake Brewers of Sake Brewing Association of North America.
Okay.
But so they've been trying to put together like a thing, like a kind of like cultural like knowledge exchange for a long time, and so they worked with a few breweries in Japan.
Okay.
And then it was me and 2 other brewers that went over there for like an education type thing. So it was like
But that was a great
awesome.
experience.
So it was 2 weeks. We went over to Japan, toured some breweries, and then spent a week and a half-ish at a educational brewery
Okay.
and brewed there.
Did you
And
get
so-
to like go in Japan and fuck around?
Yeah, we had a lot of cool things.
Yeah. Did
One
you
of
do
the-
any karaoke?
We didn't do karaoke,
Yeah.
but we were in this.
Did you go to any of the brothels? Do they have brothels in Japan?
I don't
Is that
know.
a thing? Or maybe I'm
No.
thinking of Amsterdam.
So
Okay.
one of the
Same
brewers
thing.
is one of the brewers that came with us was from Nami Sake in Mexico. Is the only one in Mexico.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I
And
did not
so-
even know there was a sake brewery
Yeah.
in Mexico. That's pretty cool.
I just thought they had tequila and mezcal.
Yeah.
But he was wanting to go to pachinko parlor.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we ended up not going. But I was like, I've never done pachinko.
I see clips online and stuff of like people like in these back alleys.
It's just
of
gambling.
Japan.
I was going to say, what is
yeah.
that? I was thinking Plinko when you drop it.
There's pachinko.
He's like, I want to get
I
on
was
the
like, I
prices
want
right.
Plinko.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
Just cheering. Get her big old yellow name
Let's go,
tag on
Bob,
there.
or
Yeah, come on.
Drew, whoever it
Yeah.
is hosting now.
No, I see like clips online of people just like it looks like everything is in a fucking alley, and there's like
It is. It's-
restaurants and stuff, but it's like you see them, they're packed together so tight, but they make the food. This food looks amazing. Like
Oh, dude,
anywhere you
there's-
go.
Yeah, when we met up in Tokyo, and it was like the hotel was like just a block away from like basically like Central Station and like
Right.
that, but also like maybe a few like 15-minute walk away from the Imperial Palace. So we were
Yeah.
like smack dab downtown Tokyo.
Yeah.
But you walk and there's lights, like alleys. We went to this one place. We just walking down a main street, turned off this alley, walked up some stairs like I was going to somebody's apartment.
Yeah.
And there was like a sake bar.
Yeah, that's
looking
so
at
cool.
restaurant.
My algorithm on TikTok has a lot of this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like people will eat for lunch, they'll be like $6.
Yeah.
Like, is things cheap over there? Like, I don't know. I've
Yeah.
never been. But they ever
I
go to
was-
a convenience store. The convenience store food looks damn good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like our convenience store,
Dude,
Reese's. But
we went every morning, like before we went to the brewery,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes we spent the night at the brewery. But when we meet
That's
up,
hardcore, man.
we would
That's
just
hardcore.
we would just go
called
to
passing
the
out.
yeah.
That's why they call you the Toji.
We would go to the convenience store, and like in the morning you could get like karage, and which
Okay.
is
What
basically
that?
just like
Yep.
like Japanese fried chicken for
Okay.
like
Okay.
in its most simplest thing, but it's better than that.
I'm sure it's
Okay, yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
But it's like it's like convenience store food, but no, it was fucking amazing.
How was the language barrier there? Like, do people understand? Or, I mean, you just kind of point, or like, how's it work?
I mean, so the
that's
nice
what
thing,
I do.
the
I
nice
mean,
thing
just
about
being
it,
from Kentucky, I just point down here. So.
the nice thing about it is we had 2 translators with us.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
So we could just like talk to them; they could convey it, and then so the language thing wasn't an issue. We did go to a yaki bar, and it
A
was
yaki bar?
like the
Is this like a vomitorium?
no,
Yacht rock. They play yacht rock all the time.
Yacht rock. Yacht rock bar.
It was-
I would totally go to a
I
yacht
would
bar.
go where
it was a
mascot.
yaki biku, but it was like like the like grilled chicken.
Okay.
bar.
Oh,
So
okay,
like
okay.
It's not
It
j-
looked like a dive bar, but it had like the little gas powered like grills.
Yeah.
And so you
Like a
order
hot
raw meat.
pot
and
kind of
you-
restaurant.
It's
Yeah,
not
just a
chicken
grill, I
uterus,
guess.
is it?
Like yakitori.
It's
bar.
not chicken uterus, is
We
it?
still have
No,
fried
it's
chicken.
not
That's what
that.
they
Okay,
have.
we had our previous host with us was like pining over chicken uterus. Remember that? I was
I'm
like,
out.
What the fuck?
I'm out.
That sounds good though. That actually sounds
Yeah.
tasty. I was like,
So it's basically just like most of the people, I guess, listening or around here would know like Korean barbecue. It's
Sure.
very similar to that. Like you grill stuff out. But anyway, so we were there, and one of us spoke like the most broken Japanese ever. But
Yeah.
again, Google Translate for the win. We
Yeah,
would
hell
just
yeah.
be like,
yeah.
I want that, and then like show him. And then the same thing, so when the translators weren't around, we
Yeah.
had our phones, and so the assistant brewer at the one thing, we were sitting there like stirring the mashes.
Yeah.
And it's just basically just a giant vat.
Yeah.
And he would say something and put it in, and it would be
Yeah.
like, don't fall in.
That's pretty good. That's awesome.
So question for you. I mean, I know Kentucky, we're known for bourbon, known for horses, and our breweries are getting there. Like, a lot of breweries popping up. So what made you gravitate towards sake? Like, what was your first experience there, and why did you want to create like a brewery?
Yeah, so we like Matt had said, like at Ethereal, like we do a lot of like alternative fermentations. Like we've all grew up or not grown up, but we started in home brewing.
Sure.
And so we did, beer, wine.
Well,
like,
all 3 of the owners of Homebrew,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
Joe, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
we-
had his
so
stuff
we've-
too. It's really good.
Yeah, I brewed in college as soon as I turned like 22, 21 or whatever.
Yeah,
And
right.
so we've been brewing for a long time. That's
First time
how-
I met you, you came to my house and you brought mead over. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
So you've
I
been
did.
brewing mead too. Yeah, that's a long time.
So I was gonna say, yeah, we did mead, and it's like once you kind of like dive in that rabbit hole, it's like, all right, I've done this enough. Like, what's the new thing? What's the next
Yeah.
thing? And so we did that, and we at Ethereal, like every year, we used to do these like alternative fermentations or beers, and we would do like ingredients from like. One year it was like South American stuff. That year it was like Japanese.
You did a
stuff.
collab with was it Japanese brewery?
no,
or
it was
something back when?
Chinese, the Szechuan peppercorn. Thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was really good. I enjoyed
So
that.
so stuff like that, and we had like, I don't think we ever heard of Koji, or maybe we did, but we haven't used it, and so it was just kind of like, yeah, I can grow that, and so
Yeah.
like. To like sake standards, it was shit Koji, but like to our and it made a very
To
interesting
you guys,
beer.
it was like the picture that kid puts on like
Yeah.
the refrigerator. It's like, Daddy, look what I made.
Yeah, right.
And like other like Japanese people are like, good for you.
We'll hang it up there. We'll hang it up there. I
Put that
promise.
right there. Yeah.
It's like that was good, son.
Pat you on the head.
So really, for the challenge is what I'm hearing. Like, you wanted to explore. And,
Yeah,
and for
it
the
was
challenge.
something new, something different.
But if
and
you
it
always
was-
like sake, like okay.
Yeah, so and I guess the nice thing about like Kentucky is like it's known for bourbon, but there's a huge portion of like Japanese foreign investment.
For sure, with
Yeah.
Toyota.
With
Oh,
Toyota.
yeah. We got a Toyota plant right in Georgetown.
Toyota Beam Suntory.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good call.
And and so and the universities and stuff too.
Yeah.
But So we had sake before and liked it. And so once we did that, we were like, they make sake with it.
Yeah.
We're like,
That's awesome,
fuck
man.
it. We can make sake too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it, like we just started making it. And then from that point, it was such a different process. And it's a lot more hands-on. And I
Okay.
guess you could say it's more intimate. Like your hands are on it a lot more.
That sounds like a very Japanese thing. Like everything is
Yeah.
about the feng shui, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about balance earlier. I mean, that's
Which I think,
yeah,
I think feng shui is
Yeah.
a Chinese saying, but anyways, go ahead.
close enough. Close
It's
enough.
Asian.
yeah, it's Asian. Yeah, I'm Asian. I'm allowed to say that.
That was not me. That was not me.
But yeah, we just fell in love with it. It's such a different process. Like there's similarities more similarities to like a brewing than like winemaking.
Of course.
But like it's just a very different process. It's more hands-on, and then we just kind of fell in love with it. And then from there, it was just like tinker. So like the way I describe it is like you have this black box. You don't know what happens. Like stuff comes in, magic comes out,
Right.
and you don't know what happens in the middle. And so that kind of like trying to figure out that black box is what caught us.
Yeah,
So,
you already have to
Love
create a Schrodinger sake. So you
do I have
being
to,
the
like,
expert,
avert my eyes
so
while
give
I
me
do this?
2. You got 2 clean glasses over there.
I
I guess
Small
it
ones.
doesn't matter.
I've got two. I've got two plain ones.
Clean-ish. It's fine.
This is the largest gap we've ever had between people here. All right, so I've got 2 sakis that I went out shopping for and I found. Okay.
Yeah.
One is the Divine Droplets. Is that Ginja or Ginga?
Ginjo.
Ginjo?
I guess it's a Ginjo Shizuku.
Shizuku.
Yeah, we can talk about what that means.
Yeah, this is a $100 bottle of sake. It was like $92. Yeah.
That was the other thing. Like while you're pulling that in Japan, like we had like everything's like a lot of stuff is cheaper over there, but
Yeah.
like just the amount of like fantastic sake. It
Really?
was like
options.
yeah,
Was
it was
cheap
like
or
it was
expensive?
so cheaper. Like that bottle would have been like, or maybe not that bottle, but something like that
Yeah.
bottle would have been like $20.
Really?
Why didn't you go there,
Yeah.
Matt? You should have went to Japan,
I'll-
bought
yeah,
it for $80 cheaper.
You should have told me, Justin. Like I would have gone and I'll go over there. So I got this beautiful bottle here that I'm actually really excited to try, and I also got something called One Cup Sake by Joto, which you informed me this is actually very popular in Japan. This-
One cups are
Yeah. So this
you can buy that shit in like vending machines.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is it, for people
Not that
listening.
it's shit.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying like
you can watch on
the collective shit.
Yeah, you can watch us on YouTube, Our Senate Culture, youtube.com/Our Senate Culture. This is a cup, literally a cup, and it's like a paper cup. I guess it's heavily waxed. I mean, there's sake's been sitting here for who knows how long, and it's not seeped through yet. I'm thinking of like when you go to like McDonald's and you get a
Yeah,
soda,
yeah.
and eventually like the bottom like rots out from
Well,
like.
the worst if you go to a hotel and you pour bourbon in one of those glasses,
Yeah.
it will absolutely
Just
come
eat
through the
through it,
bottom.
yeah. This is-
But a lot
I mean-
of times they'll have like little like glass cups.
Yep.
But it's like
Yeah.
either 180 mils or like 8 ounces.
Yeah, this is this was $4.49.
Yeah.
It's got a little plastic top on there, so you can like
A lot
pop
of
your
them
top
have
back
like
on.
the little pop off.
Yeah,
like,
and it's got a
tops with,
little
like,
Very
color
nice,
on
very
here. Yeah,
nice.
and they got this is the graffiti edition. It said nothing says you're hardcore like.
So you went from $5 to $100.
Yeah, this gives you street cred
Yeah.
by putting
All
the
right.
graffiti on there. So we're gonna see if you can tell the difference between a $100 and a
I'll avert
$5
my
sake.
eyes.
Yeah,
Cover your eyes. Cover
Here,
your
I'm gonna
eyes.
here. I can do it like under the
Oh,
While-
under the
while-
table?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say
gonna be
while
blind
Matt's
blind.
doing that, let's talk a little bit more. So, what's probably like the biggest hurdle with sake making? Like, what makes it the most difficult?
Well, yeah, I guess because it's so laborious. Like it has to be hands on.
So it's like compare that to brewing like a beer. So
Yeah.
is it more than that? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the way I describe it to other beer brewers is like in beer brewing, all the labor is kind of front loaded. But with sake brewing, all of that is spread out from like the mash, like what I'd say, like that week long mashing process. So the biggest thing is, you're steaming rice, and then, well, actually, it's washing it, then soaking it, then steaming it, then unloading it, cooling it, and then adding it into the tank. So it's like, in that regard, there's a lot more steps. And when you start doing stuff at a commercial scale, it becomes a engineering and logistics problem to solve. Whether in your home brewing, it's like, oh yeah, I can just flip this out and do this. Or whatever.
So comparison, like if you were brewing an ethereal, how many times a week do you brew? Like once, twice?
No, so it's spread out. So
Okay.
when I'm brewing in sake brewing too, they do what's called a step mash or step feeding. So you need a lot of yeast to start. So they'll start with like a little starter mash, and then they'll build from that mash, and then let the yeast go, and then build it again, and then build it like another time. So you're basically growing the yeast up, and then you're adding little bits more, so you're not like just totally stressing the yeast out. But like depending on how you brew, you can start with like a little bit of yeast starter, and then you go into like your starter mash, and then the middle step, and then the third step. So like a lot of breweries do what they call 3-step method, and each time you're doubling that volume.
Okay.
So comparison, like, is it double the amount of work you think at a brewery? I know you said front loaded. Beer front loaded
Yeah.
for everybody listening at home,
It's-
and then
yeah.
sake's throughout.
Well, I mean, I would say like if you had to like mash the grains and then shovel them out of the mash and then put them back in something, maybe it would be similar.
Gotcha.
But I guess because you're doing it all in one tank, you're not having to like mash it in a separate thing, pull it out. Like they're different. They're different in that regard, but it's just a lot more like physical labor involved in it.
That's interesting. I
Yeah,
had no idea.
unless you're big enough, like in
If
some
you
of the
pay
bigger
Matt
breweries.
like $20 to come over and cool
Yeah.
it down, just
Jason-
light the fan.
Jason's pretty big. I bet you he could handle it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I am not an expert on sake. I know what I like, and when I
No.
taste it, I can tell you if I like it or not. All right, but I can't, discern the nuanced differences between Junmai and the other thing.
Ginjo. Ginjo.
the other ones.
Daiginjo.
Exactly right. I know there's like different levels and stuff like that. So keep this one in your left hand,
Okay. Left hand.
okay, and then this one in your right hand.
I want one too.
Okay, so
They look identical.
they do, and I was actually
I need to, like,
surprised.
look in the light,
I
yeah.
thought one was going to be different than the other, but they're actually very similar. So
They're slightly different, but well,
Is the one on your right just a little bit darker, a little bit more like yellowish? Am I seeing that right from here?
actually this one's a little bit more
Okay,
yellow.
okay. I guess the light's missing me. It's
But
clearly not my eyes.
It's, but I mean, they are pretty clear.
yeah.
All right,
So-
so we're gonna put you to the test. See if you can tell the $100 sake and the
right.
$5 sake.
Well, actually, it was,
You want some coffee beans to whiff? You want some cocaine real quick, maybe? Clear your sinuses.
what's interesting is like off the bat I can smell, and the one visually that I thought was that one, but they are like clarity wise they are so close. But the one that I thought initially based
Right.
off color was the Johto one.
Yeah.
It's
Don't
not the Johto.
don't
one.
mix up your hands because that's the only way I know the difference.
So you can tell just from the smell for the most part. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt's poured me one. I have no idea what they are, so I will see if I can tell as well.
Yeah.
I guarantee I can, maybe.
So I was over here. I took whiffs of them, so I can obviously the aroma is very different.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna
wow.
say if I fuck it up.
hey, here's the thing. If you fuck it up, you're fired. You're no longer the Toji. We're going to find another Toji.
So the way I describe it is like I guess we can talk about the different like
Sure.
they're not styles, they're grades, and it's
Right.
more like taxing grades
Okay.
in Japan. So like if you think about it as like a pyramid, and so like what they call futsuchu or like table sake is like most of the pyramid, and the top is premium sake is where you get like junmai,
Okay.
ginjo or junmai ginjo,
Okay.
junmai daiginjo, but like the only separation between those is how much milling happens on the rice.
Interesting. So it's not like you get
There
into,
are some other differences too, but that's
Right.
the main one of the like big like
Yeah.
main differences.
but it's not like the higher end shit's got cocoa nibs in it, you know? It tastes like German chocolate cake.
adjuncted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a beer.
So
thing.
the differences I smell on these. One of them's a little more fruity. One of them's a little more like full or balanced, I guess would be the
more
best way to say
fuller
it.
body.
Yeah. I mean, just from the nose.
And so I was going to say what they call like ginjo-ka. There's like that ginjo flavor aroma. Because they're more highly milled,
Yeah.
you're not going to get more of that fuller, ricier flavor.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times they'll brew it with fruitier yeast to
Interesting.
like give you some more flavor. There's some other like brewing, some other techniques that go into making that, but
like Jason was
usually
asking,
those-
the yeast is kind of like not a family thing, but that's a lot of that is, I guess, closely guarded, or that's what kind of sets the
sometimes
sake apart. Okay.
Yeah, so like when we were in Japan, there's like in the prefecture, there's like a brewing research institute, and they have a lot of yeasts that they use. But that's a thing. We don't have access to a lot of yeast that they do in Japan.
Yeah.
Where do you get
they're
your yeast
controlled.
from? I'm just curious.
Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a couple of strains that you can get dry, and so they're pretty common. Even in Japan, they're pretty common.
I can actually get you a couple of strands from Jason's vagina if you want.
Cost you.
That'll cost you extra.
That goop sake.
I was thinking Wilderness Trail. I didn't know. I was thinking.
Where's you going with that?
So based on this, I mean, tasting them, the nose, I mean, there's different nose. So fruity or more full. The taste, the fruity one tastes cheaper, I would say. Is that correct?
I don't know. We'll
Okay.
see.
Okay. I'm gonna see how good I am. I'm trying.
Yeah, we got to see how the sensei does
I
over here.
I enjoy the
think-
non-fruity one better.
I think this. So the one in my left hand, which
Okay.
you said is the fruitier one.
Which one is Divine Droplets and which one is the street sake?
So I'm thinking this one is the Divine Droplets.
Yeah.
This one is the Johto.
And you thought it was the other way around?
I don't know. Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm opposite.
That fuck it up?
Justin, you are correct.
Oh, okay, I was about to say,
That's what I said. That's what I said too.
You fucked up, Jason. Jason's like, the fruitier one tastes cheap.
I thought it did. I don't know. Hell.
So that is, but I mean, honestly, it's I don't have the palate for it. I'd like to, but
It's much brighter. on
it
the
is,
taste,
yeah. So that's the $100 bottle right there.
And so the one thing,
but the thing is, the
like,
cheap one's actually not bad.
No,
Like,
it's
No.
not.
$4.50,
So like,
that's
when
pretty
you were
simple.
like, we were like, oh yeah, like Johto, like 1 cup thing, and like Johto's not bad.
well,
like,
yeah. No, I mean they're
So
both
I
actually
wonder
pretty
what
good.
makes the difference on this. Probably some ingredients. Or
I mean,
some
I
of the
guess it
person
just goes down to
making
what
it.
you're saying about the milling and stuff.
Yeah, if you maybe pass me the cup, the 1 cup.
Yeah,
maybe
here's
it
the
says.
bottle and-
Yeah, maybe it says something on. A lot of times they'll say like
He
with
wants
the
a cup there.
It may not say it on there, but we could probably look it up and see.
And these are both. I think these are both from Japan. These are both
Mm-hmm.
Japanese sakis.
I don't think you can reuse that one. There's no seal on there. It's like
No.
a can of
Sure you
Pringles or
can.
something without the
Challenge
cap. Yeah.
accepted.
It's
yeah.
made to be drunk.
Yeah. That's a to-go cup right
Yeah.
there.
Off like the top of my head, I can't remember like a lot of times what it's called. So if they label it as like Junmai or Junmai
Okay.
Daigenjo or Genjo, like there are taxing like
Right.
things for that. So I'll have to look, but I would assume like based on flavor profiles,
Yeah.
like this would be like more Junmai, this would be more Ginjo just by like the aroma
Okay.
and the
Okay.
flavor.
Yeah,
But they're like those are tax like differences. Stylistically, they are different, but they're
Tax
not
as in like tax rates or tax
like the G-Man, yeah,
Okay.
like the government, like
Oh, wow. Okay.
taking more
wow.
money.
I
But
didn't
it's but
realize that.
again, like
I
those
would
are
just tell them it's a cheaper one.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, this one's a cheaper one.
Oh, for sure. I'll just tell them that, and then
It doesn't matter. Jason doesn't.
Yeah.
make some money.
But the main difference too is like Junmais tend to be more full-bodied.
Yeah.
Ginjos and Daiginjos tend to be lighter in flavor,
Okay.
but they are fruitier, more yeast expression out of them. Whereas this one you get more like rice and sometimes yeast.
Yeah.
So like we were like drinking. This is my plug now.
Plug it, baby.
Plug
yeah.
it.
So like Messenger, like our regular Junmai,
Yeah.
we kind of like I say like toe the line between the two. So we use a yeast that is more fruitier in expression and it's a little bit more lighter, but you get that nice balance between like fruity kind of like honeydew, cantaloupe, and
Yeah.
like appley flavors with
Yeah.
like a very cleaner finish. We have another one that's the Harbinger. It's our Ginshu, which is like an
I can't wait to try that.
uncut one. I didn't bring it with me.
That's okay. I will be back.
He didn't bring it just because he knew you wanted
I
it.
know. Yes. Sons of bitches.
But that one's more like, it's like richer, ricier,
Yeah.
more concentrated. But like this one, if it's still like this one's pretty light on that like spectrum. And I
It
tell
is,
people
yeah.
it's a spectrum. Like
Right.
they're not styles in the sense of like this is a West Coast IPA, this is a a Pilsner. This is
Right.
that.
These are all Pilsners, or just different grades of Pilsner.
So looking at it,
I guess like
you definitely see on the $100 bottle. I mean, it's almost like thinner, clearer, more clarity. I guess.
Mine's all
usually,
drink. I gotta get more.
Yeah, usually the
$50
the
a
less
pour.
milled will be and there are differences too, but usually the less milled will have a more of a yellower kind of like tinge. But some of them use carbon filtration, which will like
Clarify
take
it
away
more,
that color. So, and that's
It's like a
not
non-chill filter for
yeah.
bourbon.
There you go.
See, I'm
that's
relating
not
this shit back.
uncommon. So.
It all comes full circle.
It's right
We're
there.
back
It's
in
right
Kentucky
there,
now,
baby.
baby.
It's right there.
This is really good. I like it a lot.
I think both of them's good. They're
Yeah,
not
I
bad.
don't know if I'd pay another $100 for that bottle, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's very good, but I could spend $30 and be just as happy.
Well, so speaking of cost and availability, so tell us a little bit about where people can get your product. So it's here in Lexington, we know.
Yeah, it's in Lexington right now. We do self-distribute it in a couple of restaurants here in town. Like Omakase is a good account for us. Tachibana is another place.
Okay. And you can always come here and get it, right?
Yeah, you can always come here and get it. We sell bottles. We do online stuff
Yeah.
too.
Very nice.
We can ship out of state online bottles.
And if you come
online
in, you got a
orders.
food truck. It's
Yep.
Nebutori, is that how you say it?
Nebutori.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's our ramen and like Asian bites or Japanese bites. We do some other like karage, yakitori, things like that.
So when's the grand reopening of the new place?
The grand
Ish.
reopening.
Yeah, I know it's kind of like a tentative.
So right now I think we're setting the grand open for like first week of March.
Okay.
Like last week of February,
Cool.
first week or last weekend of February, first week of March.
Coming up
kind of
quick,
thing.
man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Here. So no, I was gonna say this is our.
I helped out.
This
that
is
was
a
better
sparkling.
if you shot it, the $100 one. It's very good. More flavorful if you shoot that.
It tastes more like $100 when you
Pro
drink it
tip.
quicker.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Pro tip, yeah.
They should serve that at the guy's restaurant we're talking about. Yeah.
I'm gonna remember that. We're
So
gonna.
another thing is you never pour your own sake. You always pour.
I
someone
have
else's
actually
sake.
heard that. Yeah.
And then you always pour it two hands. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
We've not been pouring yours. We're sorry.
no, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I just.
It's Matt's
Can you
fault.
just pour it directly in my mouth?
Baby bird, that bitch.
Well, thanks for coming, man. We appreciate you having on the show. Excited for the new
Hell
place
yeah.
to open.
Glad for it to open.
Yeah, we're going to be drinking a lot of your beverage.
yeah.
and,
So we'll have a lot of cool
Great,
stuff.
great place.
out of
Great
cups,
place.
out of 1 cups.
So
1 cup packaging only. That's all you're allowed to do now.
Well, now that we have more space, we might be able to like can some like 8 ounce.
Oh,
or
No.
speaking of
cups.
cans,
No,
you got
you gotta
the seltzer line too, right?
Yeah,
That's
so that's
called.
our.
Go ahead.
It's Emerge is the brand, but it's basically just So we call it sake seltzer just because it drinks like it, but it's like there's not really anything like it. But it's basically just a low alcohol carbonated.
I had is the plum
And
one?
flavored.
Yeah, plum one. I enjoyed that one. I like
The
that.
plum ginger is probably our most popular one. We also do another one, yuzu lemon. which
Okay,
is really,
I've not had that,
popular.
but I think it sounds good.
But I also joke it's basically like a sake highball.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Basically it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man.
Man,
thanks
thanks
for coming,
again.
and
Yeah.
look forward to the grand reopening, and keep making sake.
Oh,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you,
Yeah.
man.